Everyone, today I am going to discuss the cost analysis. In this video, I will explain the concept of cost analysis and various types of cost, which is very important for the running of any type of enterprise. Okay, so I will explain the concept of cost analysis and types of cost, which is very important for any type of enterprise. So first of all, I will explain the concept of cost analysis. Cost analysis refers to the study of behavior of cost in relation to one or more production criteria, namely size of output, scale of operations, prices of factors of production, and other relevant economic variables. Because in economics, the cost analysis refers to the measure of the cost output relationship. Like the economists are concerned with determining the cost incurred in hiring the inputs, and how well these can be rearranged. For what? Because to increase the productivity, I mean to say output of the firm. The cost analysis is concerned with determining money value of inputs like labor, raw material, machines, called as the overall cost of production, which helps in deciding the optimum level of production. Because optimization is a very important factor for the running of any enterprise. We can see that cost analysis is concerned with financial aspect of production. I mean to say, if someone is asking for a cost analysis, that means financial aspect. Cost analysis is concerned with financial aspect of production. Relations as against physical aspect, which were considered in production analysis. In order to have a clear understanding of the cost function, it is important to understand various types of cost concept. Okay, I mean to say, if you want to understand what is cost analysis, so in order to have a clear understanding of the cost function, it is very important to understand various types of cost concept. Okay, so now I am going to explain types of cost analysis. Types of cost analysis. But I will discuss this topic, I mean to say types of cost analysis, in terms of various aspects. Because cost is varying behalf of lot of terms. I mean behalf of treatment, behalf of payment, behalf of order, behalf of trackability. Okay, so first of all, I will explain the types of cost analysis in terms of treatment. I mean to say, what is the concept of cost in terms of treatment? Okay, so in terms of treatment, I will discuss accounting cost. I mean to say, what is accounting cost? Because if someone is going to start a business, it is very important to understand, it is very important to know what is the cost. That means lots of cost, various of cost, like accounting cost, economic cost is the part of treatment. How can we treat? So it is very important to understand what is accounting cost, because accounting costs are the cost which are incurred on the use of the factor of production for producing goods and services. Okay, so we can say that accounting cost means to be paid by the producer. To be paid by the producer. When a producer wants to produce something, okay, please understand with example. When a producer wants to produce something, he has to seek the services of several factors of production, such as land, labor, capital, organization, etc. Naturally, he has to pay a certain price for the services. Okay, so if he pay certain price for the services of these factor, he pays wages for labor, he will afford the labor, so he pay wages for labor, rent for land, and interest for capital, and salary for the organization, etc. In addition to these, he has to pay for the raw material, production overheads, administration overhead, selling and distribution overheads, etc. Also, all these payments are included in cost of production, like rent, wages, insurance premium. So, insurance premium, wages, rent, interest, salary, all of these is the part of accounting cost. Thus, we can say that accounting costs are the cost paid by a producer or the services of external factor of production. Okay, so now I will discuss economic cost. Economic cost, there are certain costs that accounting cost disregard. This includes money which the entrepreneur forgoes but would have earned have he invested his time, efforts and investment in other ventures. For example, the entrepreneur would have earned as income had he sold his services to other instead of working on his own business. Okay, so I mean to say that term economic cost is a wide term. It includes accounting cost also. Economic cost include following three parts, like explicit cost, implicit cost, normal profit. So, what is the difference between explicit cost and implicit cost and normal profit? So, we can say that explicit cost are the money expenses incurred on the resources used in the production of a commodity. These costs include wages paid to workers, process paid for raw material and fuel, rent paid for premises, interest paid for capital, and the expenses paid on the purchase, production, management, and selling, etc. These costs are also known as paid out cost. But implicit costs are the cost of self-owned and self-employed resources of production. For example, interest on capital employed by entrepreneur is in his own form. Rent of the building owned by entrepreneur who is being used in firm, and a reasonable reward for the labor pushed by the entrepreneur. Normal profit is that level of profit which is necessary to induce an entrepreneur to stay in a particular industry. If the entrepreneur doesn't get such normal profit, he will not continue to carry on the production of that commodity. Thus, normal profit is the cost of maintaining an entrepreneur in a particular industry. Therefore, economists are of the opinion that normal profits should also constitute the cost of production. Now I will discuss next part of cost in term of nature of expenses. I mean to say types of cost analysis in term of the nature of expenses. So, in the term of nature of expenses, I will discuss two cost. First is opportunity cost and second one is outlay cost. So, what is opportunity cost? Opportunity cost are the income from the next best alternative that is foregone when the entrepreneur makes certain choices. Example, the entrepreneur could have earned a salary had he worked for other instead of spending time on his own business. Okay, so you can say that opportunity cost is concerned with the cost of foregone opportunities. Foregone opportunity, not coming, foregone opportunity. I mean to say it involves a comparison between the policy that was chosen and the policy that was rejected. Okay, as example, I mean to say if someone is having two policy, I mean to say, if you are confused, which one is best? First one is best and second one is best. Because both policies are best. So, you think that which policy is chosen by you? Which will be the beneficial for you? So, as a producer, I think that the policy that was chosen and the policy that was rejected, which policy that was rejected is the opportunity cost. That was rejected is the opportunity cost, because the opportunity cost is the sacrificing cost. Opportunity cost is the sacrificing cost, because it involves the comparison between the two policies. Opportunity cost of using capital is the interest that it can earn in the next best use of equal risk. Okay, like a distinction between outlay cost and opportunity cost can be drawn on the basis of the nature of the sacrifice. So, question is this: what is outlay cost? Outlay cost involve actual expenditure. Opportunity cost not involve actual expenditure. Outlay cost involve actual expenditure of funds for use of economic resources, say wages, material costs, rent, interest, etc. Outlay cost involve financial expenditure at some time and hence are recorded in the book of account. Opportunity costs relate to sacrificed alternative. They are not recorded because it is sacrificed cost. So, sacrificing cost, I mean to say opportunity cost, are not recorded in the book of account, but outlay cost are recorded in the book of account. This is the difference between two. The opportunity cost concept is generally very useful. In a cloth mill, I mean to say its example, in a cloth mill, spins its own yarn. Okay, spins its own yarn. The opportunity cost of yarn to the weaving department is the price at which the yarn could be sold for measuring profitability of the weaving operation. Okay, so now I will discuss cost analysis in term of trackability. Okay, I mean to say I will discuss cost concept in term of trackability, trackable. So, in term of trackability, I will discuss two types of cost, direct cost and indirect cost. What is the difference between direct cost and indirect cost? So, direct cost are related to a specific process or product. They are also called trackable cost. Direct cost is also known as trackable cost as we can directly track them. Why we say trackable cost? Because we can directly track them to a particular activity, to a particular product or process. For example, manufacturing cost relating to production, customer acquisition cost pertaining to sales. This is the direct cost. Direct costs are costs that are readily identified, are trackable. Even overhead can be direct as to a department. Manufacturing cost can be direct to a production line, sales territory, customer class, etc. We must know the purpose of cost calculation before considering whether a cost is direct or indirect, because indirect costs are not readily identified. Okay, direct costs are readily identified, indirect costs are not readily identified. Direct cost as known as trackable cost, but indirect cost not nor visibly trackable, nor visibly trackable to specific goods and services and operations, etc., but are nevertheless charged to the job or products in standard accounting practices. The economic importance of these costs is that these, even though not directly trackable to the product, may bear some functional relationship to production and may vary with output in some definite way. Examples of such costs are electric power, the common cost incurred for general operations of business benefiting all product jointly. Okay, now I will discuss types of cost. I mean to say concept of cost in term of variability, because cost is varying in a business. So in term of variability, I will discuss fixed cost and variable cost. So what is the difference between fixed cost and variable cost? Okay, listen carefully. Fixed cost include the expenses incurred on fixed factor of production. Okay, fixed cost include the expenses incurred on fixed factor of production. So question is this, what is fixed factor? Because fixed cost include the expenses incurred on fixed factor. So what is fixed factor? Fixed factor are the factors that cannot be changed in short run. These costs remain unchanged whatever be the level of production. Okay, this is a very important point in terms of the variability of cost. These cost means fixed cost. Fixed cost remain unchanged whatever be the level of production. I mean to say, if any producer is stand in 0, 20, 30, 50, 80, 100, whatever be the level of production, fixed cost remain unchanged. Even if there is no production at a time, these costs will have to be incurred. Understand? I mean to say, even if there is no production at a time, So that's mean these costs will have to be incurred. Fixed costs include the following: rent of premises, interest on capital, wages and salaries of permanent employee. Permanent employee, I mean to say the salary of permanent employee is the part of fixed cost, because if employee is not permanent, this is not part of fixed cost, this is the part of variable cost. And depreciation of machines. If any producer, if someone is using a machine, he pay depreciation on machines for using machine, and furniture also. Variable cost include the expenses incurred on variable factor of production. Variable factor of production are the factors that change with change in production. Fixed cost remain unchanged. Fixed cost depends on fixed factor, but variable cost depends on variable factor. Variable factor of production are the factor that change with the change in production. Thus, variable cost are the cost that change with the change in production. Variable cost include the following: cost of raw material, wages of workers, cost of fuel, etc. If the quantity of production increases, these costs will increases, and if the quantity of production decreases, the cost will decreases. And if at a time the quantity of production is zero, this cost will also be zero. This cost will also be zero. Variable cost will vary depending upon the output that the business generates. Less production will cost fewer expenses. The business will pay more when its production is greater. Expenses on the purchase of raw material and payment of wages are examples of variable cost. Okay, now I am going to discuss concept of cost in term of the purpose. In term of purpose, I will discuss two costs: incremental cost and sunk cost. Incremental costs are incurred when the business makes a policy decision. For example, change of a product line, acquisition of a new customers, upgrade of machinery to increase output are incremental cost. And sunk costs are costs which the entrepreneur has already incurred and he cannot recover them again now. These include money spent on advertising, conducting research, and acquiring machinery. Okay, now I will discuss concept of cost in term of pair. Pair, I mean to say in term of pair, I will discuss two costs: private cost and social cost. So, what is the difference between private cost and social cost? Private cost are the cost, I mean to say private costs are incurred by the business in furtherance of its own objectives. Entrepreneurs spend them for their own private and business interest. For example, cost of manufacturing, production, sales, advertising. But social cost, as the name suggests, it is the society that bears social cost for private interest and expenses of the business. These include social resources for which the firm doesn't incur expenses like atmosphere, water resources and environmental pollution. Now I will discuss determinants, factors of cost. I have discussed lot of cost in terms of various factors like trackability, payers and trackability. These are the important points. Now I will discuss determinant factor of cost. Determinant factors of cost. It is necessary to study the cost of commodity. It depends upon many factors. Okay, it depends upon many factors. Some of the important factors affecting the cost of a commodity fare as under. First point, utilization of production capacity. Utilization of production capacity is the important determinant of cost, because more is the use of installed production capacity, less will be the cost. So efforts should be made to use the installed production capacity of the maximum possible extent, so that cost of production may be minimized. Next one is size of plant. Size of plant is also important factor for improvement, for increasing and decreasing of any resources, any business point of view. Because if the size of plant is reasonably large, initially fixed cost will be more and variable cost will be less. If on the contrary, size of plant is small, initial fixed cost will be less, but variable cost will be more. Next important factor is operation of the law of returns. Okay, operation of the law of returns. That means cost of a commodity depends upon the law of return applying in an industry. If the law of increasing return is applying, marginal cost will be declining. If the law of constant return is applying, marginal cost will remain unchanged. And if the law of diminishing return is applying, marginal cost will be increasing. Okay, understand? I will repeat because it is some tough to understand. So I will repeat this point for better understanding. I mean to say, if the law of increasing return is applying, MC will be declining. If the law of constant return is applying, marginal cost will remain unchanged. And if the law of diminishing return is applying, marginal cost will be increasing. Okay, so now I will discuss next factor, price of factor of production. Price of factor of production is also important factor, because production is the result of combined efforts of factors of production. To what extent do the process of a particular factor of production affect the cost of a commodity depends upon two factors. Okay, I mean to say, to what extent do the process of a particular factor of production affect the cost of a commodity depends upon two factors. First one, price of the factor inputs. Second one, contribution of the factor inputs in total cost of a commodity. Because more the price of a factor inputs and more the contribution of that factor in the total cost of a commodity, more will be the cost of a commodity. Next determinant is selection and allotment of factor of production. Cost of production depends to a large extent upon the efficiency and economy with which the factors of production have been selected, allocated and utilized by the entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur must make best efforts to select optimum combination of the factor of production, and to utilize these resources will maximum efficiency and economy. And Now I will discuss the last determinants, period. That means cost behavior depends upon the period also. Cost behavior depends upon the period also. That means for which the study is being made. If the cost behavior is being studied for short run, cost curve will increase at a higher rate. If the cost behavior is being studied for long run, cost curve of the given diagram will increase at a lower rate. The fact is that long run cost curve is the sum total of short run cost curve. Okay, so these are the important determinant factors of cost, like utilization of production capacity, size of plant, operation of the law of returns, price of factor of production, selection and allotment of factor of production, and also lot of factors is important, and period is also important. So now I am going to wind up this video for completing all the important factors of cost. Okay, so thank you everyone.